What's up, guys? It's Justin Stenstrom from Elite Man Magazine, and in this video I'm going to switch it up a little bit as opposed to our normal videos where we talk about health, nutrition, fitness, mindset, all those types of things, and give you advice for how to improve those areas of your life. I'm going to switch it up a little bit in today's video and pose a question to you because I think it is so important right now in the current state that we're all living in this coronavirus pandemic. So that question is, what is your cutoff date? And by cutoff date, I mean, what is the last date that you are willing to put everything on hold, essentially everything on hold, 95% of your normal life on hold, to basically stay quarantined and self-isolated from the rest of society, stop your work, stop your business for the most part, unless you work from home, and basically just live from your home for the next few months without being able to enjoy the freedoms and liberties that you have been accustomed to your entire life prior to this point. What is your cutoff date? Is it April 30th? Is it May 30th? Is it June 30th? Is it September 30th? Is it December 30th? Is it December 30th of 2030, 10 years from now, 10 and a half years from now? What is the date that you decide that enough is enough? I'm not going to live a sheltered life anymore. I'm not going to cut off all my liberties that I had up until this point. I'm not going to continue to live in fear and be afraid of this coronavirus, this COVID-19. I'm going to actually say enough is enough and go out there and live my life. I'm not putting the COVID-19 epidemic or pandemic down here. I'm not trying to downplay what has happened, and I'm certainly not trying to dismiss all the people that have been affected by it, and especially those people who have unfortunately passed away. If you know a loved one or a family member or someone close to you who has passed away from the COVID-19 pandemic, I am 100% sorry for you, and I really do send my deepest condolences to you for that. However, with that said, the conversation needs to be had. And I actually posted about this about a week or a week and a half ago on Facebook and Instagram. And if you're not following me on Instagram, especially on Instagram because I post the most often on Instagram, follow me on Instagram at Justin Stenstrom. I posted this very question about a week and a half ago and got a lot of good feedback on it, but also a lot of people that were hating on the post as well. And a lot of people that didn't understand where I'm coming from when I talk about this. So I figured, and honestly, it reached a lot of people anyways, and I thought it was a good conversation. Whether you like the topic or not, it's a good conversation to have. Whether you agree with me or not, it's a good conversation to at least think about, because I don't think enough people are having this conversation and thinking about these types of things. But with that said, I posted this very question a week and a half ago, asking what their cutoff date is, what your cutoff date is. Do you want to wait 2 months, 1 month, which is my cutoff date, is April 30th. Actually, at this point, it's probably just a week or two when you're listening to this video, watching this video. My cutoff date will probably be coming up really soon or have already passed by the time you watch this video. Mine was April 30th. That's as long as I'm willing to put things on hold before I decide enough is enough. What's your cutoff date, though? Do you want to wait 2 months, 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, 10 years? I mean, really, realistically, you have to think about it. At the end of the day, we all have a cutoff point where we decide that our way of living has been too compromised to continue doing it that way. Basically, the quality of our lives have been so decreased that it's not worth it to live the way that we're living just to fight off this virus, or potentially not get this virus in our lives or the people around us in their lives as well, because it's just not worth it at some point. At some point, you have to go back to normal living. All I'm asking is, what is your date? What is that time that you say enough is enough? When we get to that point, you decide it's just gone too far. So for those easily offended, you're probably not going to like this video. You're probably not even going to want to have the conversation, and you probably don't even want to have the thoughts in your head about this type of thing because you think it's evil to even go against anything that's already been mandated by the government up until this point. Also, you don't want to look at the bigger picture. You don't want to think logically. You don't want to think practically about the other side of the argument, which is this: the effects of shutting down the government, of having things the way they are, having everybody quarantined and isolated for an indefinite amount of time, like this guy Fauci keeps saying, 12 to 18 months, 2 years. Bill Gates is on board with him. The Surgeon General, a lot of these other guys, they're all on board with postponing everything until who the hell knows when. The problem with that is, so many other bad things are going to happen, and that's going to affect 100% of all of us. Every single person. This coronavirus, the COVID-19, depending on the numbers that you look at, it's affecting 1 to 5%. It has 1 to 5% death rate. Those are the accurate numbers in the U.S. However, it's actually more accurate to say it's probably 10 times lower than that as the death rate, because you talk to the top scientists, the doctors, they're all saying that about 10 times more of the population actually has this virus than has been tested for in confirmed cases. So if you look at it that way, it's really not as bad as people are saying. It is bad. I don't want to dismiss it. I'm not going to say it's nothing, but it's not as bad as the media keeps hyping it out to be. It is not the end of the world here. Most people actually survive. Like 98, 99 probably % of the people that catch this thing survive it. However, more people will be affected by a crashing economy that goes on indefinitely. More people will be affected by losing their jobs. More people will be affected by becoming impoverished. More people will be affected by mental health. More suicides, actually suicides skyrocket in times of depression, economic depression, or even recession. Those numbers are going to go through the roof. All the people isolating right now, there's so many people suffering because they can't do those things that they used to do before because they're locked in their homes all day long. And this can go on for an extended period of time. I'm simply saying you have to have the conversation of when you want to actually get things back to normal, the way things were before all this crazy coronavirus thing came around. There's people on this side of the argument, some of those guys I already mentioned, who don't think about the other side of the argument, who want to keep telling people on the media, on these conferences that they do all the time, that it doesn't matter how long we keep the economy closed for, the government shut down for, because the most important thing is that people don't die. People are going to die regardless of that fact, and people are already dying on the other side, and they will continue to die in both situations. You just got to think logically and separate yourself emotionally to look at the bigger picture of what's really happened. Look, the truth is, I know that this is a very controversial topic right now, but also, I'm not afraid to tackle controversial topics. I just want to give you the God's honest truth and actually just present to you the full picture of what is going on, because up until about a week and a half ago, I saw nobody else talking about this side of the argument. Everybody was just buying into this one source, and that was it. I'm not even really here to convince you that I agree 100% with this. You know where I stand at this point. I want 4/30. I want April 30th to be the day that things start to open back up. We don't have to jump right back into it, but to slowly start opening the economy back up and letting this shutdown ease off the pedal. We got to ease off the gas a bit and start bringing things back to the way they were before. And then hopefully like a month or two later, they will be 100% normal and be back to normal like they were before. That is my opinion though, but I'm not trying to convince you of that opinion. I'm simply trying to convince you to have that conversation to formulate your own opinion. Because like I said in the very beginning, the most important thing is to think about your cutoff date. We all have a cutoff date. Whether you want to actually admit that cutoff date or whether you've not even thought about that cutoff date, there is a cutoff date in mind. Because at the end of the day, I know you don't want to live the rest of your life like you're living right now. Nobody wants to. You don't want to live the next 30, 40, 50, 60 years of your life living shut down, secluded, isolated, social distance, quarantine, all of these things. You don't want to live that way. Nobody wants to live that way. So with that said, there's a cutoff date in your head already. You just haven't thought of it. Is it 5 years from now? Is it 10 years from now? Is it 30 years from now? Or is it probably more realistically 12 months from now, 6 months from now, 3 months from now, 4 months from now? Think of that date, because the more you think about that date, you can start sharing that with your friends. You can have that conversation of looking at the other side of the equation, looking at the other picture and what the effects of a prolonged shutdown are going to be, not just on your health, but on the economical health, on the mental health, on people's poverty levels, on the way that they live, and your neighbors and your friends and all the people around you, your community, how everyone is going to be affected by a prolonged shutdown. You have to have that conversation. You have to start thinking about it. Whether you agree with me or not, what's your cutoff date? Because I want to know, and I want to know what you're thinking. By the way, let me just leave you with this final point. If you're sitting around thinking, I want to wait until there's a vaccine that comes out. I want to wait till the cure comes out for the COVID-19. I want to wait till there's 0 cases of COVID-19 coronavirus, and then that's the point when I want to bring things back. That's the point I want to end this shutdown. Here's the truth of the matter. If you're waiting around for your cure, you're going to wait around for the rest of your life. It's never going to happen. There has never been, in the last 50 years of developed medicine and research, they still haven't found a cure for the common cold. As it turns out, many common colds are actually coronaviruses. They are actually a form of the coronavirus. And they've never been able to figure out a cure for the coronavirus already. They've never been able to figure out a cure for the common cold. And if you look at things like the flu vaccines, that's a whole nother video, a whole nother story, but many of them are very ineffective. They don't even really work. So, with that said, if you're waiting around for, say, 12 to 18 months, like they keep saying, for the vaccine to come out, it's just not realistic. Even when it comes out, it's not going to be as helpful as people think it's going to be. The same thing with the cure. There's not going to be a magic bullet cure that comes out for this coronavirus, this COVID-19. It's just not going to happen. However, with that said, there are already many infinite amounts of ways for you to boost your immune system and fight off things like the flu or the common cold, or even in this case COVID-19. When you boost your immune system, you can fight off basically anything out there, including any virus such as COVID-19. I will be making videos coming soon surrounding topics like vitamin C therapy, high dose vitamin C, intravenous vitamin C therapy, glutathione, zinc for sure, garlic, oregano, any herb, thyme, rosemary, cinnamon, all of these things, turmeric, chaga mushroom, all of these things boost your immune system incredibly, and they can help you fight off basically anything that comes your way, including this virus that is sweeping the globe today. There's just not a ton of research because you can't patent any of these natural therapies. You can't patent any of these herbs. You can't patent any of these vitamins. It's basically dirt cheap, and they're not looking into them because they're not sexy treatments for what's going on. But there is good research that is already coming out in places like China and other places around the world. They're even using it in New York currently to treat patients with COVID-19, intravenous vitamin C. That is a very powerful thing. It works incredibly. Dr. Andrew Saw has covered this recently and has talked about it as well in the past, as well as Linus Pauling did studies back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and I think maybe even 90s, where he was treating incredible viruses and all kinds of things with high-dose vitamin C. The point is, there's already natural treatments out there already for COVID-19, and also just for boosting your immune system and keeping you as healthy as ever. Do some research. Take charge of your own health. Stop waiting for the cure and think more practically about what's going on and how long you actually want to have this shutdown go on for. So, with that said, leave your date below in the comments section. Just leave the actual date of how long you want to prolong this thing, how long you want to wait, how long you're willing to sacrifice your liberties and freedoms that you've had up until this point to try to avoid this COVID-19. Again, for anybody who's lost a loved one to COVID-19, I do send my deepest condolences to you, and I do respect where you're coming from, and I appreciate that, and I don't want to argue about that point. I'm simply having the conversation about what's going on and giving you the other side of the argument. So, that said, I will talk to you soon. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Justin Stenstrom. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to get notified the instant we release a new video.